This is Black Star Still Rising under the auspices of the Black Star Project. And we're going to welcome a very important guest that this is his, not encore, but his second performance here, Mr. Michael Roundtree. Michael is the Director of Operations for Black Star, the Black Star Project, and we're going to catch you up to date on a bunch of things that Black Star is going to be doing over this next month. But before I go any further, let me remind you, again, this program is dedicated to Philip Jackson. And what does he say? Learn or die.
Educate or die.
Educate or die. Philip Jackson. Remember that. Folks, you better get your pencil and paper out today. You're going to be taking notes on many things that Mr. Roundtree is going to be talking about today. So get your pencil and paper out. Let me get through shout-outs. Got to get my shout-outs to Imani. And, is Ms. Santos here today? I didn't see her today, but if she's here, I'm going to shout out to her anyway for being the studio producers and making us look good and making the program go so smoothly for us over these past number of months. Also, a shout out to my associate producers, and that is Dr. Mike Washington and Mr. Ellis Taylor for what they do in bringing the program to you and making you aware of the program. After also our guests that are there at the Atlas Senior Citizen Facility at 79th and Korea. Hello, keep coming, keep the questions coming, keep sending those questions to us so that we can keep responding, and also the folks at the Kroc Center. Now, Michael, thank you for being here today, my brother.
Certainly.
All right.
Thank you for having me.
Come on, tell us a little bit about what's happening, catch us up, what's happening with Black Star Project.
Sure. Well, we've been rolling, and so it's just a matter of where we want to start. This past weekend, we took a group of students out.
Talk about that.
To Wintrust Arena
Okay.
to visit the Chicago Sky in their home opener. And that was a great time for us.
Was that Angel Reese and
That's
her
right.
team and the rest of her team?
That's
okay,
right. That's
go
right.
ahead.
A hard-fought loss,
Yes.
but it was a great time for the students.
Okay.
Yeah. So we did that, and
So that's kind of addressing some of the intergenerational focus of Black Star Project.
Mm-hmm.
And this is not quite an extreme, but it's one area that that you folks and, oh God, I forgot to say something about Gloria Smith, our executive director. She will,
Yes, sir.
No, she won't be mad. She's too modest to be mad because I didn't mention her too as executive director, your boss, but succeeding very well in following Phil Jackson's footsteps. But go ahead, Mike, and tell us some more about some of the programs that are either going to happen, that have happened, that our listening or our viewing audience will be interested in.
Sure. Well, as far as programs coming up, we have our Juneteenth. We're going to be having that celebration on June 15th there at the Black Star's office.
What is that address, by the way?
3509 South King Drive. This is adjacent to...
Okay, tell me.
Yeah, the
Go ahead.
Philip Jackson
Philip Jackson
Avenue.
what? Philip Jackson Parkway, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Thanks for the
Philip
correction.
Jackson Parkway.
Philip
Good.
Jackson Parkway.
So you won't miss it. Tell us a little bit what's going to be happening on Juneteenth.
Yeah, so we're going to have vendors both from food to entertainment. The goal is to bring the community together and have a large showing here in Bronzeville. So both in the back of the office where individuals are used to seeing, engagement, but also in the front of the office. So we're inviting both families, kids, everyone in the community to come out and join us.
So this is one of those intergenerational things.
Of course.
There are going to be food, and you mentioned to me when we were preparing for the show that they're going to have some basketball rims someplace around there.
Yeah, so the idea is that we will have a basketball rim and maybe a coach or two there to help individuals with their free throws and their three-point shooting, but for the most part to keep the kids engaged. Yeah.
Can I practice my jump shot and see if my jump shot is still there?
Certainly. I'm definite they call you the silver butterfly for a reason, right?
They call me a lot of things, but my jump shot was not Stephen Curry, though. But
Sure.
anyway, food. They have an assortment of food and different booths outside on Juneteenth. out on the King Drive side
That's correct.
of the office. Tell us a little bit about that and some of the booths that might be there.
Yeah, so we're going to have different food vendors, as you mentioned, but also tables for different community members, whether it's going to be the Christian Association of Businesses that'll have a table there, or absolutely anything essential. They help partner with us and throw this event. Or the Black Star, you'll definitely see us at the table there talking about our different programs and what's going on. And there's still room for the community, if there are individuals that want to be involved in this, to be able to reach out. I have a number that I can give.
I was going to wait. You got me right there. Go ahead.
There you go. It's 773-285-9600. And you can call us, reach out to us there. We also have our email address, which is communityinfo.
Write this down, folks. Go ahead.
There you go. Communityinfo@blackstarproject.org. And, that'll give you a direct line to us either through calling or emailing. And so, again, if you're in the community and you'd like to join us in preparing, planning, or just coming out to enjoy this June 15th event, certainly welcome you all.
What are the hours of the event, though?
So it's going to start at 11 a.m. and it should end around 5 p.m. And for those that are interested, we certainly need help with setup. And that setup, we're looking at around an 8 or 9 a.m. start for setup.
Okay.
And for individuals to help us on the back end with cleaning, and maybe those crews will start getting together around 3 or 4 p.m. as well.
Now, this is kind of addresses another thing we talk about here in the program, volunteerism. It's important that events like this and programs like this, they thrive on volunteerism. So give them that phone number again, so those who can and are able to do that, please sign up and come on down and help at those times, 8 o'clock in the morning for setup and 3 o'clock in the afternoon for takedown of the tables and things.
Sure. And that number, as you mentioned, 773-285-9600. And I can't highlight enough, as you are, that the community, we need the community for these events. And just in general, this is a time for us to come together, to heal some of the traumas that we're going through, to voice some of our opinions on things that are going on, and also to just enjoy ourselves. So we're all welcome for it.
And certainly that's one of the things that Gloria Smith has done following Philip Jackson's leadership, her brother's leadership, and that is involving the community so that they have a say-so, they have a part, that they know, young, old, that have something to offer. And I tell the seniors, the elders that have been on the program, that they have more muscle than they understand. And they've got to begin to exercise both their muscles, their intellect, their wisdom, and has to be in Black Star Project thrives on this. Gloria Smith is waiting for your call to help out and follow in Phil Jackson's tradition of being an integral part of the community. Michael, I know that there are a few things that you are more personally involved with, but tell some of the things that some of your colleagues at Black Star Project would want us to know.
Certainly. Well, to this point of having the elders come out and help, we have the Ambassadors of Hope program, and that's going to be starting on July 8th. And this entire program, it has an intergenerational approach as everything else we do with Black Star. But it's the goal of teaching these students the learning legacy of SNCC and the ideas behind the Freedom School. And so we're inviting individuals to come out as speakers, as just conduits of the program, to join us so that the students might imagine building on the legacy that has been left for us, both by, again, SNCC, Philip Jackson, MLK, all of these great leaders. Our students need to both know about them, but also to imagine how they can add to the body of knowledge that these individuals were both creating and standing on for equality for everyone.
It's interesting you mentioned SNCC. I was fortunate enough to go to the opening of one of the founders of SNCC. But it was at the Court Theater in Hyde Park, Stokely. Stokely, that is a great play, and it's going to be at this Court Theater for a number of weeks now, but you better call there. You want to see something that's so dynamic that addresses what Stokely did, his parts with the Black Panthers and a number of other organizations that addressed directly the needs of the community.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You mentioned also, but folks should know that the Juneteenth program at Black Star, under Black Star Project's auspices, is the largest Juneteenth event in the Bronzeville neighborhood. All the more reason to continue. Again, this is what, the third year or so of the Juneteenth program that Black Star Project is sponsoring, and it's important that you come out for that and bring your friends. And there's a term, viva voce. Viva voce, remember that. All it means is pass it along.
Mm-hmm.
Pass it along word of mouth. Viva voce, remember that, pass it along. The dates, etc., that Michael is going to be telling us today. All right? We had something else, I think, that was on the agenda that you wanted to talk about. And that was the Ambassadors of Hope.
Sure, yep. And so that program is being headed by Cortez Watson. He's with us at Black Star, and I'd love for him to be able to come on.
Yes, we had him on before. I'd love to have him back again. But tell
Certainly.
us about what Cortez would be telling us if he were here today.
Yeah, and so the Ambassadors of Hope, its theme is centered, like I said, around this intergenerational approach. And if there's a quote that I can pull, it's from MLK. Cortez has used this to embody their curriculum for this summer. Power at its best is love implementing the demands of justice, where justice at its best is power creating everything, or correcting, everything that stands against love. And so that's the theme that the students will be embarking on, creating a journey to learn a little bit more about the history of not just this quote, but of the movement. And then, as I mentioned earlier, be able to take that and imagine what they can feasibly do with it, how they can become and embody the next generation of activists, for their time is now.
Michael, that quote is so deep, so heavy, so much gravitas with that. Can you repeat that? Folks, take notes on this. I told you to bring a pencil and paper out with Michael today. You need to listen to these and take notes so you can pass this information on.
Certainly.
Michael, please repeat that again.
Right, so the quote that we'll be using to embody Ambassadors of Hope: power at its best is love implementing the demands of justice, where justice at its best is power correcting everything that stands against love.
I think one of the other things we want to talk about, Michael, is what happened down in Springfield
Oh, yeah.
a couple of weeks ago. Tell us what happened in Springfield, down at the state capitol.
Sure. So on May 8th, I'm actually wearing the T-shirt that about 300 of us wore.
Okay.
We went down to Springfield to rally at the state's capitol for the appropriation that they gave us, $17 million initially in the inaugural Freedom Schools grant.
Oh, wait a minute, say that again. How much million?
17 million. And get this, they're honoring it in Philip Jackson's name. In fact, it's called the Philip Jackson Freedom School.
Wow.
And so this is a grant that they offered. I believe it's something like 25, 30 organizations that were given that grant.
Entire state.
Across the state of Illinois.
And Black Star Project is one of the ones in the state of Illinois
That's correct. And in fact, the Ambassadors of Hope is part of that Freedom School learning portfolio, if you will. And so we also have the Kimberly Lightford Saturday University
School, yes.
And then we also have our Philip Jackson Freedom School that's in Bronzeville. And so all of these components fall underneath what we consider our Freedom School, the Philip Jackson Freedom School. And so, like I say, a group of about 300 of us went down to rally at the state capitol dressed in these red shirts to ask for this funding to continue, to ask for not just in a show appreciation for the state of Illinois becoming the first state in the union to make the Freedom Schools a part of their General Assembly. We want to show this support so that other states can also follow suit, because it's a message that resonates nationally. It's not a Chicago thing. It's not a sneak thing from Georgia or the South. Everyone needs to be involved in Freedom Schools. All students, especially Black students, need to understand their history and what their community was able to come about and do, and the change that they brought about, and not just here in this nation, but across the world.
But not only understanding history, but they could become a part of history.
That's correct.
Informing what happens for the next 50, 60 years. And that's important. Tell us a little bit about what happens in the Freedom School so parents who are looking to get their kids, nephews, nieces, whatever involved, tell them what these students will experience.
Sure. So one of the themes that's going to be consistent, whether you're at the Saturday University that's out in Maywood, whether you're at the Freedom Jackson Freedom School that's here in Bronzeville, or you're engaging across any of our other programs, community is something that's going to be centered there. That intergenerational approach where we're going to have elders working with young people. It's easy for individuals, and it happens all the time, for you to walk into the Black Star Project and feel like you're at home.
Yeah.
Because we have everyone, from every generation there working, cultivating, pushing towards some positive goal. Now, whether that goal is academic for the day or whether that goal is socially engaging for the day, it doesn't matter, because as a family, we're approaching these things. So they can expect that. If you are in our Saturday University, you can expect the educational enrichment. You can expect that your student, or as a student that you, will be going through curriculum that's culturally relevant, going through curriculum that's going to give you what you need to go back to your schools and to be a good student. That's what we're here to do at Black Star.
Well, I can see also it's not a matter of just taking kids off the streets, but it's taking kids young off the street to be put back on the street.
Sure.
To be engaged and to engage their peers. Is that part of the curriculum and that the reasoning?
That's exactly it. I mean, and in some instances, that's the goal of Black Star, to create the next generation of activists that'll follow the Philip Jackson way of activism. And so, as you say, to go back into the streets and with a different purpose, with a positive mission at this point.
You know, a little bird told me that we want to do a couple of shouts out, don't we?
Yeah.
Well, you were told me about a couple of people, like Sister.
Yeah, Sister Ya. And so this past weekend was a big weekend, not just for Black Star, but for the community, as we had Sister Ya. She hosted her Henrietta Lacks event, and this is an annual event where she pays homage to Sister Henrietta Lacks, whose cells were taken without her permission, although to do good. And has done good with respect to eradicating, and helping cervical cancer research and polio research. But in the medical field, Sister Ya is very big on making sure that there's inquired consent, that people understand what's going to happen, and that they have a decision in their health care.
Acquired consent, please talk about that again. Not so much in legalese, but the practical implications of that. For instance, I think one of the practical implications was the monies that were made on her cells made some of these super pharmaceutical companies rich.
That's right.
Talk about that, the consent aspect of it.
Sure. So as we're mentioning, had Henrietta Lacks or her family, had they been informed of what was going on, they certainly would have been part of this compensation model, but they weren't. And so they actually had to go out and sue Johns Hopkins University for rights, for access to the funds that
should have just come if they had done the right thing.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And so it's the onus falls upon us, the community, to stand up and to go out and help those that have been wronged by the system, even if the wronging has potential, or the work that was done had societal benefit.
Yes, right,
There's the right way to do things, and that's what we are proponents for.
And you can't let the wrong way of doing things keep on when there's a choice of doing the right thing and still they benefit.
Exactly.
But the wealth, the experience needs to be spread around, and all things that Black Star is doing is to continue to make folks aware at every level of our society. That's part of what Black Star is about. I think we had another person that we want to throw a shout out to that's been instrumental with Black Star. You want to talk about Terry?
Yeah, certainly. Terry Bishop. He had an event.
Terry, are you watching?
on Saturday as well. It was an awesome event where he brought together a lot of different organizations on to talk about some of the solutions. So not just to address the problems and talk about the problems and the blight that we see in some of our communities, but to really put forth some of the solutions. Whether you're hearing from the credit union and talking about the importance of pulling these community funds together and putting your money where individuals not just look like you, but at least represent your values. Because overall we'd be better, as opposed to putting our money where there's disinvestment going on. And so that's just one example. But many other examples of other organizations that were there to offer solutions to the many problems that we're facing. And so we just want to say thanks to Terry Bishop for the invite and as well as for throwing this event.
And you folks out there listening today, looking at us today, know that you can be a Terry Bishop. You can be a Sister Africa, Yaya. That your talents, your wisdom are so welcome and are so needed. Please, what's the number to call if you want to get folks involved? Tell us the number and the email address that we're going to use.
Sure. The number for Black Star Project, 773-285-9600. And you can reach us at communityinfo@blackstarproject.org.
What hours and what days of the week?
Yeah, so Black Star, we're generally in the office from 10 a.m. to 3 or 4 p.m. But the idea is that number you can call and leave a voicemail, and we'll certainly get back to you. We're monitoring that email address, communityinfo@blackstarproject.org, at all times. So we want folks to reach out when the thought hits them. It doesn't matter if it's 2 a.m. or 2 p.m. We're a community and we're a family, and so we want to engage with other community members and family members.
You said a critical thing, and that was monitoring. So it's not just things being put on voicemail and not no one ever coming to pull it off of voicemail. I should say this also. I know that many of you have had questions and sent me questions about the previous guests that have been on the program. I just want to make a quick note that last week and a few other weeks we had some people talking about the problems with aging, and we had one Cheryl Yarborough on a few weeks ago that talked about her mother's dementia. We had Dr. Mike Washington last week talking about dementia and some very personal things about dementia. But I want to bring this book up again. That it's called, Oh My God, I'm a Grown-Up, a conversation of giving care to a loved one and yourself who's experiencing dementia. So keep that in mind, write that title down. And that's Cheryl L. Yarborough, PhD. She's down in Georgia now, but she'll be back up in Chicago, probably available for other speaking engagements. I also want to mention, too, that we had the people from the Pullman Porter's National Historic Registry there. This was Dr. Lynn Hughes' son was on our program that talked about the influence of the A. Philip Randolph and the programs that he did and instigated in leadership positions in the black community. And I got another treat coming up. Next week, we have already confirmed that Candace Head, the author of A Black Girls Symphony, who has recently been appointed as a director for the poetry. Oh, I'm not sure about the correct title, excuse me, but I'll give you that. Candace Head, new director for the Poetry Society, for lack of the exact title. Call me at 312-662-3106 to find out more about her and the program next week. Michael, I think one of the other things that you mentioned to me that we'd like to bring out, I think your executive director recently was involved in giving tribute to Dr. Vincent Harding. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, that's correct. On May 19th, we celebrated the 10th anniversary of his passing with a memorial there in Colorado. And it's a great event that was streamed. I believe they had Michelle Coltrane.
Oh man, she jammed.
Yeah.
She took a lot of that from her daddy. I can tell you that much.
Sure, and her mom.
And her mom. Yeah, Alice, right.
That's right. That's
yeah,
right.
Yeah.
And it was just an amazing event. Miss Gloria shared the link with the team, and so I look forward to being able to go back and watch it. It's my understanding you did.
Yes, I did. I enjoyed it to the max. Yes, had to play it twice
That's
to
right.
get the full value of it. But yes, a lot of things that will keep going on, and it's because of people like Michael Roundtree, who came in to start as volunteering and doing things where I think you were still in school when you first started doing this, and you moved through the ranks, and now are director of operations for the Black Star Project. But give us more. Give us again, folks who haven't written it down. Grab that piece of paper, write down the information about when, where things are going to be, starting with the Juneteenth program.
That's correct. On June 15th from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m., we're going to have that event. After that, we'll have our Ambassadors of Hope. That'll be starting July 8th.
July 8th. Keep that date in mind.
Yep. And one thing we didn't talk about, but just really quickly,
Please.
95th anniversary of the Bud Billiken Parade. That's coming up this
Oh,
year.
boy.
And that's generally a nice stamp mark for us because that begins our fall recruiting. And so we'll be planning for the fall at that point.
And with the Defender office right next door to you guys,
Yep.
that's a good symbiotic relationship.
That's right.
And that needs to be nurtured. I can say I sold the Defender as a 12-year-old. Chicago Defender, paper man. I still remember how to do it. I bet I could go out and sell some Defenders. I should wrote for them too, but I could go out and sell some Defenders too. Michael, I know there are a few other things that we're going to wind up the show. We're getting down to the last minute of the show. Tell us some things that we can look forward to, the viewers can look forward to with the Black Star Project.
Well, just with respect to our fall programming, we're going to have our Philip Jackson Youth Development Program. We're going to have the Young Black Men of Honor. We spoke about our Freedom Schools.
Okay.
So the Black Star, our normal programming will continue, and we look forward to having you guys come out and support us, not just in volunteering, but in participating in these different things that we have going on.
And when you have the urge, call us. Call me, 312-662-3106, and I can catch you up and get you in contact with all the folks down the Black Star Project. And they'll be looking forward for your participation, but especially Juneteenth, on this year on June 15th, at the corner of Philip Jackson Parkway, which is at 35th and Martin Luther King Drive. Come on out. I want to see you. Raise your hand. It's a bunch of folks. I knew they were going to respond to that, Michael. I knew they were going to be coming out and they're raising their hand. Viva voce. Pass it on. Word of mouth. Pass it on and make sure you come out. And look for us next week. I told you you're going to have Candace Head next week. They're going to be on the program, and you'll get more about that a little later on. You're going to get it directly. But thank you for being with us today. And it's been a pleasure to have you. And I'm going to be looking forward to you doing ongoing updates of what's happening with the program, or giving us some of the staff at the Black Star Project, send them down to be ambassadors to share the information that's so important
Certainly.
for the lifeline of the Bronzeville community and Chicago in general. Again, Michael, thank you so much for your time and effort to being here today with us.
Yeah.
And we remain Black Star Still Rising under the auspices of the Black Star Project and Philip Jackson and his legacy, and Gloria Smith, who keeps the legacy alive. Thank you for being with us today.